If your basses are getting a bit stale and boring after a while, don't worry my friend, because I have 9 tips to help you avoid that. So getting your bass from this to this. And from this to this. So let's join the war against boring basses with me. Listen to this. Cool? A bit boring. Let's make it more fun. If you're not new to this channel, you know that I like color steps, putting a bit of steps here and there to make everything feel like evolving a bit more. Let's start with the first. You want to find the basses with a bit more body. I'm gonna go to my new Verge pack because I know elbow basses there like that. Like this one, right? Second one. Elbow body, step power. I like to put them off beats, but you do you. Like that. Put them slightly off grid to make it even more humanized. Depends on your taste. Let's add one more layer, maybe a bit more like a donk. This is kind of perfect for that type of sound. Now I'm gonna try to find places the other snap doesn't play. So something like this, right? I'm just making it simple using the root key E, but you can use any notes in the scale if you like to. We can make it a bit more colorful, maybe add kind of a growl here around, something like this, right? And now we have this. Super simple, very useful. Number 2 is resampling. If you want to create movement with the sounds you already have. In this case, I'm already thinking, if I take this, put a big vintage reverb on it, resample it. Now, my idea is simple. What if we use this one to create transition points in bass progression? I'm especially thinking here. What I'm going to do, just reverse this, put it around here, and try something like this. So it kind of feels into the restarting point of the loop. Right? Super cool. This video is sponsored by Lander. If you are looking for a better way to distribute your music, Lander distribution makes it simple and cost-effective way to share your music with the world. For just $23.99 a year, Lander distribution delivers your music to all major streaming platforms and stores worldwide. And they include YouTube Content ID and Shazam Discovery without any cost. Want to release your cover songs? It is just one-time $15 fee per track. No recurring charges, and you keep 100% of your royalties. Plus, you get unlimited uploads for all your music. And the best part, your track stays online permanently, even if you pause your subscription. If you want to check them out, you can save 20% with the link below. Both with the color steps and with the resampling, be mindful of removing the unnecessary reloads, especially below 100 Hz, because you really don't need them. Your bass is already there. You can do the similar EQ for each of your steps. You can resample any sound. You can even resample your steps and use them as a fill-in. For example, in this case, this one. Let's do the same thing there. Here we go. I'm just gonna take the tail, reverse it, boost the volume a bit. So we have this, right? Subtle but there. Cool. Go wild with resampling. You can come up with really cool ideas. If you feel like you are going to use some of these tricks in your tracks, please consider like and subscribe. So I give you more tricks like this in the future videos. This one, another my favorite, because I really enjoy playful basses, and one of the easiest way actually to make it with the delays. So in this case, I have this, creating a return channel, and this also creates groove. So you can call it like an echo groove. Any delay plugin is fine. I'm gonna use just timeless because I feel like timeless today. 100% Sunday. You just want some type of groove going on. I like it especially stereo, so I'm gonna go for ping pong. So it just bounces right and left. You hear that? The important thing is actually sidechaining so that there is a groove on it. So it's like almost sucks a little bit. Easiest way, I'm gonna use duck. You can use any plugin you enjoy. It's like this pumping going on. It's good for editing dance music. And be in mind that I'm actually cutting the lows again with the delay. So not clutter the mix. You can even add a subtle reverb, and then you can adjust the volume. You can even play with the time. I'm considering now actually slightly off grid, right? Like this. Yeah, this is better. simplest way to create stereo image in your mono basses. Top layering is another way to make your basses fun. Idea with the top layering is creating another layer, an octave above or two. In this case, I'm considering rather than up and down, I can go maybe something like this. And then I can even change the pattern. You can even change the sound. I'm thinking now a bit more distorted maybe. Something like this. For this type of sounds, you don't want it over the top, and the most important thing is listening together. And to make it even more playful, even more interesting, there's a simple trick. You can take something like utility and play with the volume so that it goes in and out. It makes it even much more interesting. I'm exaggerating so you can hear it a bit better. In the mix, it will actually stay in the bottom anyways. With that, see how much playfulness that adds? Again, simple but very useful. Now, all together we have this. This is not that a big difference, but it can still make your bass more entertaining. And swing, listen to this. You can use Ableton swings over here, but I'm gonna do it manually simply because I'm gonna make it more personal. I'm gonna like these notes, offbeat notes slightly, all of them. This one even more. Do you feel how at the end just have this laggy feeling? But the secret is actually also using the velocities with the swing so that even hits are different. I'm gonna take that velocity, put it on cutoff, compensate it a bit, and go back now and decide on the notes that I want to emphasize. Dun, dun, dun. For example, this, I think I'm considering like this. Like this. Cool, isn't it? But the bigger change actually comes from pattern progression. We actually see this half bar repeating all the time, this part. I like to make it progressively. Let's make it one bar first, and then maybe change to like this. And then if you want to make it even longer, let's take that one bar now, make it 2 bars. Again, change doesn't need to be super complicated, especially for the minimal groove like this. If the groove has more melody progression, then you can do even more stuff. And now we have this breakdown of almost pattern here. What you actually even can do, if you don't want to repeat it every other bar, you can just take this part now, duplicate it like this, and now you have like 4 bar progression, even though these parts are repeating itself. Right? So simple, but it creates this kind of 4 bar progression in the bass while keeping this really minimal feeling. Super simple. Super cool. Sometimes your bass could be boring simply because it lacks depth. I have a whole video about it over here, but let's make it here too. This bass, if you take a look at the stereo image, right in the middle. It's alright to have the bass in the middle, especially the sub-range. But in this part, I think we could make it much more entertaining by adding a depth. How could you do that? Return channel, any reverb plugin. I'm gonna use a Pro R, cut the lows, and I really don't want this part and this part. And I'm gonna cut here as well. And I'm gonna increase the distance and increase the thickness. It's saturate a little bit basically, and make it really dark and high width as well. You can even duck a little bit. Now what we do, send the bass there. You see, it feels like the sound is kind of reverberating in a big hole. If you like to, you can further process this one. You can even do this. I can make it even darker. And now listen with the bass so that you can actually see if it is adding anything. It does. Listen together. A bit less maybe. Without. It is subtle, but it is there. We can make it even more interesting. Create a chorus. If you put directly on the bass, it will add really nice modulation and depth, but this may again be problematic with the low end. I'm gonna group them up again and make the chorus 100% wet. Dry chorus. This is what chorus is doing. Now we have tones of low line, right? Without. With. If you take a look at our imagery again, you can still see that we are very, very mono, but we have this slight stereo coming in due to chorus. And one final thing you can do is also adding like dimensions or expanders. It depends on what you want. For example, in this case, if you add a dimension, a small. For me, starting at too much, so I'm going to keep it this way. And you can even use echo here to increase the depth, but we made it already in previous examples, so I'm going to jump over that. Anything is more fun when you introduce automation. You can automate anything from reverb to cutoff to volume, but in this sound, I think cutoff will be a very clear example. One big movement here at the end of the bar, like that, and then small movement at the beginning, and small movements like this. So we gradually increase and decrease, something like this. This is probably too much, let's listen. This was actually fine. It's really good. Another super simple thing could be actually automating the delays. Just pick a delay that you like. Put ping pong. What you can do now, put a utility and actually automate how much you are putting onto delay. You can do this delay throws on your bass. You can add a bit more feedback to this. Let's duck a little bit so that when the bass hits, this is ducking. Very cool, very simple as well. You can really play around this one. I can maybe throw it in the beginning, throw it longer later. There's no right and wrong in this one. You completely go with your ears. You can maybe do this. Right? And you can even then duck this one to give even more groove. Let's take it from the kick. Everything moves with the kick groove. Super cool. Ghost notes is a bit more niche. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. It depends on the track. We're gonna try to make it work on this one. They don't tend to work that good with the single notes, but I think we can still make it. So the ghost note means you put the like accent notes, especially offbeat notes. They tend to be like octave jumps or a little bit different notes so that it gives this kind of ghost feeling. Actually, that worked super nice. Sometimes you think that that wouldn't work, and it's a really nice surprise. The ghost notes doesn't need to be octave jumps, like it can be any notes, like you can put like a small melody on top as well. Let's try to do that. And let's switch that. Maybe this, exaggerate. It's also obvious that we slightly change the vibe. Keeping one single note creates this more minimal feel. When you start creating melodies with your ghost notes especially, it takes the bass from more minimal to a bit more tech house territory. So for example, if I were to use ghost notes here, I will probably keep it simple. No melody, single octave jumps. This is good enough. If you want to learn more about bass and how to mix it, I have more videos over here. Take a look.